Hi, welcome to How to Repair, our second live stream, and wishing you all Happy New Year. Just before it starts, we've got Barry with us today from Donegal. He was on last week from Ireland, and he does sales, servicing, and of Ebac, Indesit, and Whirlpool washing machines. Also Hotpoint as well, plus every other makes. So if you do need any assistance in Southern Ireland, Barry's the person to speak to. Let's bring Barry on. Hi, Barry. Happy
Hello,
New Year
Paul.
to you, mate.
Happy New Year to you as well, and all your viewers. Thanks for having me on the channel.
No problem at all, mate. You got all your Guinness lined up for tonight?
I have all my Guinness lined up for tonight, so I'll be sorted tonight.
I've got the Superbock Christmas ready to go. So
fantastic.
We should be sinking a few of those this evening.
Definitely. We look forward to it.
Anyway, for all the people that are watching, if you've got any questions or you've had any problems with your domestic appliances, remember you can ask these in the chat. We do ask customers to be polite and everything with the chat on the system. And we'll go into the first question. Now, before I do that, what I'm going to be demoing later in the show is we've got a new product line, which is the universal cooker knobs for hobs and cookers, and I'll be showing you later on how to fit them. Right, so first question that came in this week was, bear with me. Right, Nazim Adam had a Samsung washing machine, a WW80, and he's got a DC error code and it won't start. Now, for for Nazim, I have already posted this to you, but I just thought I'd bring it up so I could show you what the problem is. So let me just share screens a second. And on the FAQs at the top, we've done an FAQ for you. And if you go into this FAQ, I've actually put the answer in here. It does look like it's the door interlock. And I've also put the video to help you replace the lock. Do inspect the wiring harness with this. And I've also put a link to the product as well. So if you click on that, that should help you out with that one. The next question we had was from Matthew Ross with a tumble dryer, JLTDH18, and he needs to replace the belt. Worried about the drum. Feels stiff. That could be the felt system. So let me just go back. What do you think with that, Bah?
Matthew, great question. I believe the John Lewis Tumble Dryer is built on the Electrolux Group platform, so quite an easy dryer to work on. Now, the drums can be a little bit stiff on those dryers. Not too stiff. You should be able to turn it with a bit of resistance. And if you're finding any more resistance than usual, well, as Paul says, check the front felt system. Maybe it is clogged up with lint, or there's an object such as a button or a coat zipper maybe stuck in between the drum that has caused your belt to snap in the first place. So
that's one I haven't come across. I must admit I've had a few problems with jockey wheels on these machines if it's the Electrolux one.
Yep, that's also common. Yep.
I think I've added. Oh, I also added I found the error codes for this chap as well for other people. So all the error codes are listed here. And if you click onto them, you'll be able to go down to find what the error code is for your Pacific machine. And then I also put the exploded view for him. So this looks like it's a heat pump dryer.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, it's a heat pump.
Should be a little more simpler than the usual dryer to change the belt on, in fairness then.
I actually haven't done a heat pump belt yet. It's because I'm in the studio nowadays and working on individual machines, making videos. I haven't actually done that. But the belt in this one is 202. And the felt you saw in the diagram as well. So if you come down to the list, The belts are, that's a popular belt. That's for 1971. That's a common one that we sell on all the Electrolux range. And that belt, if you click on the link, yeah, that's not coming up. But anyway, if the belt is there on that, it will be available and everything. So just follow the links on that. Okay, let's go to the next question. Let me just go back on this screen a second. And I'm just looking at the... We've got a few questions also coming in on the chats and everything, Bas, so if you want to take care of them and have them star them for us to answer after. So the next question was from Nicola, and it was about a Hotpoint machine, CDN7000P. Barry, that's not any problems with that machine? That's a straightforward one, not one of the ones that had problems?
Nicola, that is a great question to ask there, and it's quite a common occurrence on these Hotpoint condenser dryers where there is a whirring noise coming from the pump area, as you've clearly described in the back. Now, that is simply the little impeller in the rear pump that sends your water up into your water container. The impeller's got dry and it has become noisy. Now, the simplest way to solve that problem is to replace the little pump on the back. It has actually been redesigned to stop that noise from happening in the future. It won't do any harm, but it is a bloody annoying noise. I will say that. You would swear there was some kind of animal stuck in behind the dryer. So definitely worth getting a new pump there to solve that issue if you want a quiet life in your home.
Right, okay. Well, I've actually did a video about 3-4 years ago on these, and what I do to check the pump is working correctly is I whip the lid off, and if the collection tray is in the top left-hand side, if you take the collection tray out, and then basically, let me just bring this up a second. If you take the collection tray out and then pour a cup of water, just a cupful, and that should activate the pump. So the water starts coming up, and in the back of the machine, you will actually see the water coming through the collection tray where it should be collecting into the collection bowl, and then it runs back down to the system. So don't put too much water in when you actually do this test. And I think I added, yes, I actually added the video for this as well. And this shows you how to, I won't play the video now for you, but this shows you how to test the pump system and also the float switch and everything, which is a really useful one to have. Right, let me bring Barry back a second. Okay, and next question. Let's just have a look at the chats a second, because I see there's a few live people in there. And Miele vacuum cleaner with a bad smell. What do you think on that one? After the bag and filter swap. It depends on the type of smell, really. If it's got an electrical burning smell, carbon brushes are a common one, which can go in the Miele's. It's well worth inspecting them. But also you can buy some air fresheners for these as well. Have I got any here? Just bear with me. Yeah, I've got an old packet here. These, you can actually put them in the bags and everything. And what they actually do is freshen up the smell inside the tumble dryer, in the vacuum cleaner. So that helps no end with that. But I imagine this chap's got, you need to actually tell us, it's SV Boy PT. So we need to understand whether it's a burning smell or it's just a bad odor smell. Those are the only two things I can think that would be giving you a smell problem. Any other thing on that, Bar?
Totally agree there, Paul. It'd be best for the customer to actually tell us what model of Miele he actually has, because certain Mieles obviously come with HEPA filters and carbon activated filters for cat and dog models. So the customer would need to be sure that they've changed those. They need to be changed on a yearly basis if you have that model of Miele, and obviously determine whether it's a bad smell in the way of a motor electrical smell, or a funky smell from maybe owning a pet or hoovering up something that you shouldn't have, such as water or other substances on the
and
carpet.
also, you know, you don't just, a lot of people try to empty the bags themselves. I mean, you can actually shake the bag and get the old stuff out, but if you're reusing the bag, it's not a good idea, because the bag itself will actually contain the odors and everything else. And from what this chap is saying, or lady's saying, the bad odor only. Oh, what have you got there, Ba?
So if you're ordering the genuine Miele bags, you will obviously get a new filter set for the Miele Hoover, just to answer this question. So you will get the top filter for the motor. Now, depending on your model, you might have to cut this to size. You have your motor protection filter, which goes in behind the bag itself. And you have the very good Miele genuine 3D filtration bags. Now, if you've changed all three of these, but by right, the machine should have no odors whatsoever, because Miele would have one of the best filtration systems on the market for taking odors and unwanted particles out of your air. So if you've done these using the genuine product, we need to investigate that further. If it's a bad odor, well, you shouldn't be far off the source if you're using the genuine Miele products to service your vacuum.
Right. Okay. Well, that's. We've also got Rev Domestics. Haven't heard of Rev. Be nice to know where you're from, Rev. Happy New Year to you. Hope you had a great Christmas. Mentioning Christmases, Barry, I believe you had a bit of a problem during Christmas.
I did, Paul. I unfortunately got struck down with the virus just before Christmas Eve. So,
oh God,
I only came out of isolation there yesterday, which was great. I didn't have any symptoms, but it was still annoying. But it made Christmas a lot more simpler in the house. We enjoyed the little things.
Well, to be honest, there's not a lot of places to where I am at the moment until I go back to the UK. I'm in Portugal, and Barry's in Southern Ireland. But you know, New Year has been pretty much cancelled over here. We normally have a great fireworks display and everything in our local town, but I'm just staying local this year, and you know, I'll just have a few bevies with a couple of friends, and that'll be it. And then, of course, the joy is with today's technology, as we're doing, at least we can actually keep up with family and everything with FaceTime and Facebook, Zoom, and so on. So that really does help no end. We've got another. Good to see you back on your feet, Barry. Do you know Fraser?
That's a good friend of mine, Fraser. Yeah, he's checking in on me. So he was a great help to me through the virus there. He kept my spirits up. So hello, Fraser. Thanks for tuning into the channel.
Hi, Fraser from Portugal. Okay, let's crack on with these. Otherwise, we're going to be missing our beer later. So we've answered that one. We've got Neil Derbyshire. Neil's got a Beko DSV. I like these. 64 tumble dryer, not turning. Have a problem with the dryer not starting. Now, I think you ended up sending quite a long description. So I'm just going to, because I have answered this already for you, but I thought I'd bring it on the show because it was a good question.
I might drop in here, Paul. I think we've all been here as engineers on the Beko dryers. Neil, be sure that the little connector that locks your condenser into place at the bottom of the dryer is fully inserted, or the Beko dryer won't stop. It'll save you chasing around after other problems when it could be as simple as that.
Sorry, Bat, can you explain that again?
Okay, so Beko, if it's a Beko condenser dryer, is it, or is it a vented?
It's a Beko DSV64. I'm just looking at the. I'll bring the exploded diagram up, so just bear with me. Exit solo. So this
looks to be a vented
on a large screen. This looks like, no, this looks a vented dryer.
Oh, well, you discard that advice then, Neil. That won't be the problem there. You could
But
check.
just explain for people what you're on about with the condenser dryers.
Okay, for other customers that have Beko condenser dryers, when you take out the condenser, the main filter at the bottom of the dryer, not the one on the door, you will have two little red clips to allow you to remove the filter. Now, sometimes when we reinsert the filter after cleaning, if those red clips aren't positioned completely upright, the dryer will not start.
Yeah, so you're talking the two locking switches which are at the bottom, I believe, on them, aren't they?
They are the two lugs, yeah, the red highlighted lugs. You can't miss them.
Right. Okay, I know which ones you're on about. So let's go back to his questions. Just bear with me. I have a problem with the dryer not starting. Door switch is okay. I've changed the PCB thinking it was that. That's an expensive change. I came across a very helpful video regarding the capacitor. My dryer is no noise at all on the motor, but wonder. Well, normally when you get a capacitor go on the tumble dryer, you will hear a humming noise off the motor. Now, when you hear the humming noise, you can, let me just bring myself up to the screen. You can actually, with the palm of your hand, if you take the lid off and you hear the humming noise, you'd be able to push the drum with the palm of your hand and it should start turning. Now, you might have to try that one direction or the other direction. It depends on which the switch gear is pushing the drum at a certain time, because they do rotate one direction for a while, then rotate to the other direction. But if you haven't got a humming noise, it is possible it could still be the capacitor, or it could also be the motor itself. And you're going to have to check the voltage on the motor. But I have put an exploded diagram again for you here with all the parts listed below. But I'm going to need a little bit more information back from Neil on this with regards to what the problem is. I'm just going to quickly flick back to comments. Okay, so we've done that one. Let me just go back and go back to the live chat. Dryer motor Mossy. I do apologize if my pronunciation is not correct. Dryer motor don't start. Hear it trying to turn only after open the door and turning the drum by hand.
Now that sounds like a capacitor issue there.
Yeah, I don't know what make you're talking about here, but if you send us the model number over, what you need to do with your tumble dryer is you're going to have to get down to the capacitor, make sure you disconnect the appliance from the electricity and everything, get down to the capacitor, and then written on the side of the capacitor will be, it will actually say so many microfarad, and it will be under the symbol of UF. So it may be a 7 UF, 8 UF, or whatever. It's very important to get that correctly before inserting a new capacitor. And also, a lot of manufacturers don't actually sell the capacitors separate. So you need to identify what size the capacitor is before actually being able to order it. So you will have to strip down the machine first. Okay, so that one's done. We've got Bosch Lad 1886. Hello to you and a happy Christmas and New Year.
Hello, Bosch Lad.
We also have something from currently working for retail chain as white goods engineer. However, REF domestics refer past one-man band business. We all started as one-man bands. I can assure you of that. I've been doing it near 40 years. How long have you been in the business, Barry?
Paul, most of my life, you could say, really. I've always had a fascination with appliances from a very young age, and my father got working with Hotpoint back in early 2000s, so it was a dream come true to me as a small boy to be able to go out in the summer months with him in the van, and I couldn't wait to get out of school to get into my own van and get traveling around the county and sorting out problems and dealing with customers. So I really think my path was set in the appliance world for me the minute that I came out of the womb. So everything, the stars really aligned for me there. So that's.
Well, one of, you know, I'm not being rude, but how old's your dad roughly?
Dad is, he's.
Should we say this live on air?
I don't know, Dad, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but Dad's in his mid-50s, so.
Sorry, what age did you say?
Mid-50s. We'll call him 50.
So he's
50.
the same as me then.
We'll give him 50.
He was working on the old good stuff, the Hotpoint 18 series, the 9.5 series, and of course the Hotpoint twin tubs and top loaders.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to love those machines. They were just well made. You know, you had 12 bolts on the back of the 18 series, and the drum came straight out. Easy to replace the spider, bearings and everything. And, you know, they were just so well thought of. It was incredible machines. I see a lot of people now are collecting these machines on eBay. And when I say collecting them, people have actually got, I've seen some channels out there who have actually got like full, you know, people collect cars, people collect stamps, but people are actually collecting washing machines now from the 60s and 70s. And I was on eBay going back a few months ago, and I came across a Hotpoint twin tub pump. Now, back in the 80s and 90s, these things used to be £10. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're now fetching £30, £40 on eBay, secondhand. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
They're like collector's items.
They are. I've one myself, Paul, new in a box. My family call me the Stig of the Dub because I like hoarding, you could say, all those old Hotpoints up at the house, and they're really great to have and point out to people the difference in them in that era and now today. It's fantastic. But even to switch them on now and again and watch the mechanical marvels of them, it is fascinating. You can see the attraction if you're into your appliances by keeping these machines, I suppose.
Right, okay. Moss just came back to us. It's a 7UF, so bear with me 1 second. Let me share screens. So if you go to the homepage on the website, there are a selection of different 7UFs. Some are for Hotpoint, some are for Beko, I believe. So just in the top, just do a search 7UF, and then you can type capacitor if you want to refine it. We've got some genuine ones there. We might also have a pattern one, but you'll have to have a look through or just go through to the contact us page and we'll put you in the right direction. But I don't know if you've got a plastic one or the metal one. Right. Hello and Happy New Year. Sent a question to email. Have a dishwasher Indesit. This is your department, mate, Barry. 148 UK. The LEDs are very faint. Well, that can either be a circuit. Well, if the LEDs are lighting up, this means that the electrical filter in the back of the machine where the power lead comes into is actually sending electricity by the sound of it to the board. But if they're very faint, I don't know. I'm thinking circuit board myself. I don't know what you think, Barry.
There could be a number of reasons for that one, Paul, down to maybe the actual circuit board itself is slightly detached from the plastic of the control panel. So maybe it has moved from its position, you know.
Yeah.
And the wires in the door sometimes can eat through as well. So maybe you've got a
and of course with the push controls on the top, if they've been pushing it too hard, it might have dislodged the LEDs from the display mechanism, and therefore they're not able to see them correctly. I hope, Enda, I hope that answers your question on that one. But if you do need any further help, just send a more detailed email in, or you have sent an email in, and I will try and get through to it next week once my head recovers for the new year. Did he just go to the next one? Would like to know the opinion about right to repair. Very, very good point. And you've hit a passion of mine. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm not going to upset all the manufacturers. I believe appliances should go back to the days when we produced machines that were lasting, not only for the consumer, but for this planet. There is too much emphasis on consumption in this world instead of repairing. And, you know, this is something I talk a lot about. We ship just washing machines. We ship roughly 2 million washing machines from the Far East and other countries per year minimum. That's nearly 20,000 40-foot shipping containers, which are being transported halfway across the planet. And, you know, as we had last week, we had EBAC on the show, who are being responsible now, producing machines which you're able to replace the bearings. Too many manufacturers are producing machines with sealed drums that do not give the consumer a chance to repair them if they're willing to repair them. Now, there is a heck of a lot of people out there which wouldn't even attempt the job. But if you've got the option to be able to repair the appliance, it's got to be good for the planet. It's got to be good for consumer. I don't know, Barry, yourself?
Well, Paul, totally agree. We have to change our ways and our consumption sooner rather than later. It would do no harm to return to the way of old with appliances. And saying that, I do know that the new range of Hotpoint gentle power washing machines and Whirlpool's all new Supreme Care Silence has a split tub reintroduced into the washing machine, and we're very proud of it. It's been designed to be up to 87% recyclable, and we do hope to have it on the channel to show you the features of the machine in due course. So hopefully other manufacturers will follow.
What we'll actually do, sometime in the new year, we'll arrange a day where we grab hold of a couple of machines and do a tear down on a new machine to look at the way individual manufacturers are constructing the machines. Yeah. And then we'll give our honest opinion. You know, I don't want to become a review channel to say how good a machine washes and everything else, but I'm willing to actually strip machines down from new and then put them back together to see if in our eyes they are actually built with a reasonable construction that they're going to last the test of time, because this is a very important thing in the future.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's
there's a question about an Aeg dryer there. I'm dying to get my hands on for G there.
Okay, thanks, gents. Good suggestion. Okay,
thanks,
glad we could help. Have you put that in the start on the Aeg?
I have, yes.
What's the name of the person?
We just have it under the letter G.
Ah, I got it. There we go. Pop it up on screen. So what's this one? You fire away as you saw it.
G, you have an Aeg washer dryer and you can't get it to dry clothes. Now, this could be one of the new Aeg dryers which actually work of a heat pump system as well to make it very environmentally friendly. Now, have you noticed it progressively getting worse? Was it drying okay at the start and now it's not drying as well, or has it always not been drying as well as you would like it? It may possibly have a blocked condenser. Washer dryers do extract a lot of lint and they can get clogged in the vital components that they use to dry, especially if it's a heat pump. If you've got a blocked condenser in there, you may need to phone an engineer maybe to check that out.
It wouldn't be a heat pump with a heat pump washer dryer.
I believe Aeg have started making heat pump washer dryers now. Don't quote me on that, but I'm nearly sure their high end ones now work of a heat pump system inside the washer dryer as well, same as a tumble dryer.
So it's a washer and a heat pump dryer.
Yes.
Well, even I'm learning stuff, and I've been in there. Well, I haven't come across that machine yet, so I've seen a lot of to me, that sounds awfully complicated.
Gee, it probably is, yes. Very good for the environment, but a lot of complex components in there to keep efficiency up. But if you would like to send us on the model number of that washer dryer, we can check in to see which variant it is and maybe advise you further on what to do.
Good point. Okay.
Check that out.
So that one's done. Oh, G's just sent the model number in. So he's committing you here, Barry.
Gee, we need to check that out myself. Let me see. Let me have a look. Paul, call me out the model number of it there.
L75.
Yeah.
48.
Mm-hmm.
It's either a 0 or a no, and then it's WD.
Aeg. Let me see.
I must admit, I want to get on my hands on one of those heat pump dryers now to have a explore around it, because I've never been that impressed with the heat pump dryers, just the dryers, because the cost of them to recover your money compared to the normal dryers. Although I'm 100% for more ecological machines, I haven't seen them lasting the test of time, shall we say.
Yeah, they need to be looked after meticulously, filter-wise, to allow them to do their job. And especially if you aren't an organised person that need clothes done in a hurry, they maybe aren't going to be for you. Like, you know,
the more complicated you make things, it's like these cars nowadays. I'm determined to keep my old transit van going because it hasn't got electronics on it. Yeah, it's basically, you know, it's a standard diesel which you can work on, you can repair. You don't get error codes coming up on the dashboard and this, that, and the other. And then you're forced to actually take it to the manufacturer because no one else has got the laptop to plug into the damn van.
Exactly. Simplicity is best, isn't it? Especially with an old transit.
G's also added a comment here as well. Dryer, but
pretty sure that that's a standard condenser model. That isn't the heat pump variant that they do. So
this could be a clogged air tube on the top, maybe a build-up of fluff on the fan motor itself, or the return pipe which runs down. Is it on the back of the machine on these, or on the front of the machine?
The condenser unit?
Yeah.
I'm not sure on these, Paul. I haven't split one apart yet, but something tells me from a previous YouTube video that it may be on the roof of the machine, like certain other manufacturers. Usually the box runs up over the top of the heating element at the top of the machine. So if you wanted to remove the lid, you might be able to have a look at that direction.
Right, okay, and this is remembering on the Aeg stuff, and of course you've got to remember, people who are asking the questions, we don't get time to look at the exploded diagrams and the workshop manuals, so we are doing this on the fly. When I mean on the fly, we're trying to answer your questions, but without all the technical information sometimes we need, and this is why we encourage you to send emails in before the show so we can actually get the answers for you. But there's also on these Electrolux made Aegs, there's a what I call a trickle water valve, Barry. Correct, and that means when it's on its dry cycle, this water valve trickles cold water down the back of the condensing unit. The vapor, which is the air that's circulating round the machine, then condenses against the cold water on the plate. Then it goes down to the bottom of the machine and the pump comes on to remove the moist air from the machine. And that's basically the principle of these washer dryers. Anything else to add on that?
No, I play it simple. Play it simple, G. Use logic there. The first place I would start, if it's progressively gotten worse at drying, is there's most likely a clog going on there somewhere of lint, upsetting the recycling of heat process.
Right, okay. Bosch lad just popped something up. Beko heat pumps are really good in my opinion. They're also quite cheap. I don't know, what's the price on these heat pump dryers now, Ba?
They're ranging, Paul, from late 200s up to infinity, I suppose, but the Beko's usually in between the late 200s to 500s bracket. And
that's what I would call an affordable price for a dryer.
It is.
I mean, some of the mid-range ones I've seen at £350, £400, that's where my my logic comes into play, that you can buy a normal tumble dryer for £175,
Yes.
and you have a difference of £200 in the value to the heat pump, and you need to have the machine running for 7 or 8 years without any errors for it to be economical to recover that money. Although it's good for the environment, it may not always be good for the consumer's pocket. We also had, this is an old machine, right? Okay, it's an old one, right? So it's definitely what we said. It will have a condenser plate on the back. It will have a trickle water valve that will be trickling water into the condenser unit. The heater comes on. It then cycles the air around the machine, and that hot air then condenses against the plate and it runs down. So methodically strip down the machine, make sure the heater's working, everything else is working, and make sure that condensing plate and the whole airflow from the door seal all the way across, going across the top to where the fan motor is on top of the machine and the back plate, because on the old ones, it was on the back of the machine. And this, you've got to make sure all this is completely clear, because if it is an old machine, it will build up with fluff and crud over the time, and it does need maintenance. It's like everything. You know, people think a washing machine or a washer dryer or tumble dryer goes on forever. Your car does not go on forever without maintenance. So a washing machine is going to be exactly the same. Right, next one, going through live chats here. What's your opinion? New energy label. Well, the energy labels that they're giving out are very fair and very honest, but they are not taking into consideration the lifespan of the machine. They're not taking into the consideration the recycle costs of the machine. So although a company gets an A-rated machine off, say, Which magazine or one of the review companies, and if the machine only lasts 3-4 years, but it gets a great energy rating, well, they're not looking at what the recycle cost is on the environment. They're not looking at the machine has only lasted 3 years. So it could be a treble A rated machine, but if it only lasts 3 or 4 years, that energy rating is completely ludicrous because the machine's not lasting. And, you know, you may be saving electricity, but as I explained in the previous show about the consumption of, say, heat pump washer dryers, per kilowatt of energy costs about 20 pence. Well, if the machine is only lasting 3 years and is saving you half a kilowatt per wash, what is the point of the beneficial saving? I think they need to look much more at the long-term effect of the marketplace with machines only lasting 5-6 years. Your opinions, Barry?
Paul, I would agree with most of what you're saying there. And to be fair, I believe that the test criteria for those energy labels is only done on the one cycle. Is that right? And me and you and everyone else. I don't know.
I'm not Which magazine or anything else. I mean, they do produce reviews which give the customer the information that they need with regards the noise levels, the wash levels, and you know how much electricity they use. But as we said in a previous show, you know, the water levels now on washing machines are so low that dirt and crud builds up in the drum, creates bacteria that then creates mold. And you've got to remember, in Britain, it's very different if you live in America or Middle East or somewhere and you've got a large house and you've got a laundry room. Houses in England predominantly have small kitchens, and people do not like to leave the washing machine door open because the kids are going to hang off it or whatever. So they have to shut the door. But, you know, occasionally you need to do a wash cycle, a clean cycle, instead of just a wash cycle. And this means at least once every 6 weeks, you should be doing a boil wash on a machine to try and remove as much of the grime that builds up inside the drum as possible. You agree with that, Bar?
Absolutely. We're all using the quick washes. Everybody wants the washing done in next to no time. So we're going around using the quickest wash in the machine. And obviously, if you're doing that, you need to carry out far more maintenance cycles to remove the grime. Who cleans the cleaner is a great statement I heard one time. So do as much maintenance as you're doing washing in the machine to keep it tip top.
Well, I'm glad we answered G's. He just said, thanks. He's looked at the workshop manual and it was on the back. So that's all dealt with.
And Gavin, he sent his name there. Gavin, thanks for the questions. Great questions, Gavin. Now that we have a name.
Right. Okay. So, right. Let's go back to the ones that came in last week. And last one we did was the Beko. All right, question from Nick from Leeds. He had I brought this one on for the simple reason over the last couple of weeks, I've actually been going through the warehouse here, bringing out the old cooker hoods, and I have made some very, very long videos. And it's not my normal to make 20, 30-minute videos, but I do try to make a video so you understand how it comes apart and do the job properly, because there's nothing worse than not doing the job properly. So let me go and find this for you. Bear with me. And go back to frequent questions, cooker hoods, and it was the Bosch DWW. Okay, so what I've done here for you with your... Right, you've got light problems, and in the video I have done in-depth with transformers. There are many difference on this cooker hood. By the look of it, it's a 220 to 240 volt light bulb, so it's straightforward. You just need to check the power supply coming to the bulb. If you haven't got power coming to the bulb, you need to track this all the way back to the circuit board. Check the circuit board is working correctly. There's no transformer on this machine. But what I did for you is I did add the video here for you, which is an in-depth look at Bosch cooker hoods. And that should help you out. I also added an exploded diagram here, and the bulbs for your cooker hood are 051. Did I put the link in? No, I didn't. 051. Sorry, 154. 0154. So 0154. Where is it? So that's the Osram bulb, and that's a 30 watt. We haven't got any in stock at the moment, but there are some others on here. So you will be able to find them following the links. But that's, we have some other cooker parts for these, but we haven't got a lot in for this model because it's quite a new model at the moment, I believe. Okay, so that answers that one. Next one was from Frank Titcomb. Hotpoint cooker hood again. Now, I brought this one in for the simple reason is I finished the video last week on the Hotpoint, and this is one of the AC voltage bulbs, but they're low voltage. And that is... Let me remove the chat so I can get full screen. So this cooker hood runs on a transformer so the transformer receives 240 volts or 220 to 240, wherever you are in the world, Frank. And it then comes from the transformer to the light fittings. And these bulbs on here are these little G4 bulbs. And whenever handling these type of bulbs, by the way, if you've ever got to change a bulb in a cooker hood, make sure you're using some tissue. You do not want to leave any fingerprints on the bulb themselves because they're halogen. And if they're halogen, the grease marks from your finger will cause problems with the bulb, creating a hot spot and causing them to blow. But this video is all here for you, and it goes through a complete tear down of this cooker hood. And I show you the voltages on it, the circuit board, other bits and pieces. So I hope that helps you out, Frank. Okay, so that's that one. That's that one. We've done that. Okay, Stephen Rowell. Hotpoint Condenser Tumble Dryer. FTC. Yeah, this is pump again.
Yeah, Steve.
Did this for him the other day. Bear with me. Cooker hood tumble dryers. That's the right model, yeah. That's the right one, yeah. Right, so the pump unit. Now, a lot of people have been asking questions about these tumble dryers, Barry. Some of the pumps run consistently. Other pumps are controlled via the circuit board, where they come on for 5 minutes and turn off, then come on for 5 minutes, turn off. And others are activated with the float switch. So there are three types. Sometimes the float switch is actually only used as an indicator to tell you when the water container, which is up here, which is 547 and 548, when this is full, the water runs back down to the pump compartment, which is this unit here, 600. What if this ever fills up with too much water, the float activates, and when the float activates, sorry, I've left the chat on and people can't see what I'm pointing to. So if this activates, basically what actually happens is this float comes up, and these floats are notorious for jamming, by the way, in the plastic holders. The polystyrene over time can distort or get a lot of dirt on it, and they stick. And then this pin comes up, activates the float switch, which then stops the machine from heating. And, you know, we sell quite a few of these pumps, and it's a common problem. Also, the other common problem with this machine, which is something I do tell people to change on a regular basis, is the back bearing, because they're notorious that people leave them running, squeaking away, and eventually it wears through the bearing and starts cutting into the chassis. So I hope that answers your question, Frank. Was it Frank, this person? Sorry, I didn't see who. What was the name of the person? Stephen. So I hope that answers Stephen's question. Have we got any more in the comments at the moment, Mal?
Just a little look here. There seems to be a few debates going on here between Miele's having sealed tubs in their new range. What do we see? Kevin, I haven't looked into this now, but as far as I'm aware, every new Miele still comes with the stainless steel inner and outer tub that they always had, and you can access the bearings on those. I'm not aware that they've introduced sealed tubs in any of their new machines as of yet. They're still.
Well, I haven't worked a lot on the new ones. I will be doing, as I said, in the new year, some tear downs on new appliances to have a look how they're actually constructing them on the latest stuff. And I'll be doing that. But what I'll do now is I'm going to show everyone these cooker knobs that have just come in. Now, these are actually in a multitude of colors. We have black, silver, chrome, copper effect. I think there's 5 or 6 colors together. And they actually come with a 92-piece kit, which makes them pretty much universal. And what I'm going to do now is I'm quickly going to show you how to install one. Then I'm going to run a video for you as well, which is the video that I'm making on them at the moment. But it's going to be a few weeks before I finish the video, because I am going to take a break after the new year. So I'm just going to add my other camera over here. I'm going to remove you, Barry, a second so people can see properly. So are you able to speak still, Barry?
Can you hear you?
Right, sorry, I've got to get this so I've got the right cameras working and everything, so just bear with me. I'm going to change that to camera 3 and go over here, and I'll put this on solo. Okay, now these cooker knobs, basically you've got about 4 or 5 sizes ranging from 30mm to 35mm, 40mm. I believe there's a 50mm as well. I can have a look at the instructions. It doesn't say the sizes on there. No, but they are on the website. But you've got, if you need to replace your cooker knob, it may be discolored, it may be broken. A common fault with these are the D shape actually breaks and these can crack. Also, some cookers, the cheaper end cookers, do not have a glass panel like this. They have just a stainless steel panel and these symbols wear off. And where this cooker knob set is very useful, they come with a transfer set as well, so you can actually replace them. But you've got 3 or 4 different variations of the sizes of shaft that actually run on these. And you've got, I believe it's the shaft sizes are, bear with me. Yeah, you've either got a 6mm and it goes to the larger size, which I think is 8mm as well. And first thing you need to do is find out which one fits. And that fits on the shaft. Now, these, when they're on the shaft, you find the one that has got the correct length. So this is going to go onto the shaft down here, and that will push in and be a nice fit. Once you've actually lined that up and you make sure it's in the correct position, you then put the knob on and you just press it in and it locks it all into place. These are they should be done right first time. And once it's locked on, you're then able to put the insert in and that locks into place. And some of these knobs actually look a lot better than the original knobs that came with the machine. So they're at the website. I'm going to run this video for you just so the two of us can show you. So let me just come back to the main camera. And I'm going to run this video for you while we're in the background. So let me just add this to the stream. You can see the colors that they come in. They got 30, 35, 40. You can see the other 2 sizes. Matter of fact, I can go back. So just bear with me. Yeah, so you've got 30, 35mm, 40mm, 48mm, and 55mm. Now, what I'm meaning with that is the distance of the width of the knob. And then, of course, you've got the different shaft sizes. There's 3 shaft sizes in there. And there's basically 92 pieces that actually fit a multitude of different cookers, including the ones with gas collar. But I'll just let this video run. They are very sleek in design, Barry.
They're very stylish.
I've fitted a couple of these now, and I'm very impressed with them. I mean, we've been selling universal cooker knobs for many a year, and some of them were quite good, but the quality of these are absolutely superb. I've been highly impressed. And just the simple little insert, which you can see there on the black one, because you can choose different colors for each individual cooker. And the chrome ones and the copper ones are fantastic as well. And the red ones were actually designed more for the commercial basis, but they are really quite trendy on the machine. And the reason I do like them more than the round knobs is for people with visual impairment, like my mother. She's 93 years of age now. She can clearly feel where the on-off position is, rather than just having a round knob and her having to squint at what she can, is the cooker off and everything. Because, older people, they do find it hard to identify some of these features.
Yeah.
But I should have the video finished within the next couple of weeks. The computer's running a little slow with this video running, so I do apologize if it's not coming out correctly on the screen. But these can go on a multitude of ways, as you can see here. And you've got the cloud fit. That's basically where the insert is, the knob is a little bit longer. And then you've got the gas collar, which is, you can see the gas collar going in there, then the knob fits in, and then you make sure you set it up to the off position. They are very difficult to take apart once you put them together. But, you know, you need to think about it before putting the set together, but they are really, really well made. And the other thing is, if you have a thermostat with a plastic shaft, do support the thermostat before pushing the knob on. So I hope that helps everyone there. Just remove that video. Oh, wait a second. I've removed Barry, or was Barry's phone gone? So I think, Barry, come back in if it is your phone, even if you just, no, there we go. Yeah, he's back. I don't know what happened there, Barry. Techo glitch?
The New Year's Eve celebrations is getting the better of me, Paul. It's upsetting my internet.
Okay, we've had some more questions come in. Oh, we got one of my old favorites here.
The old White Knight.
White Knight Tumble Dryer. I am so upset to lose this company last year. I think it was last year or the year before. One of the, you know, like eBac, a company that produced a dryer that was well made, affordable, and they thought about it. And, you know, I was really sorry for all the employees at the factory when they closed the factory down, because this was one of the best tumble dryers, in my opinion, that had been made for 20 years. Quite simple. They were really, really good machines. The gas dryers people liked, they were a little bit complicated, but the vented dryer and the condenser dryer was a great machine. Anyway, what's the question? White Knight Tumble Dryer, we have one occasionally and randomly just stays on. Depends. Oh, I don't know what information I've got on this. Let me just have a look on the internet a second. This is 427WB diagram. Let's see if I can find a diagram on it. Oh, there's a service document. Oh no, that's from this company called Manuals Lib. But I got some old posts on here. I just went on, just bear with me. If you put your model number in, you will be able to find some stuff. And my ugly head when I was losing my hair appears on there, because I've done a video earlier on this. But if it's got the mechanical timer, that could be the problem with the dryer. If it's the electronic circuit board one, then it continues and continues. I can't see the circuit board itself causing that problem. I imagine it's a mechanical dryer. And that means when I say a mechanical dryer, it's got a mechanical timer, and it may be sticking or has worn out, and you would need to replace the actual timer itself.
He's replied back, Paul. He's replied back here. I see he's changed, Busant. You've already changed the timer units because of this problem, but it's still occurring. If you could go into a little bit more detail about what's happening, is the dryer continually running, or are you referring to the dryer running if the door's open? If you've already replaced the timer, well, that's one of the main culprits that Paul has been describing there. You see, Paul, if I can get you to bring that up.
Just click on it yourself, Ba.
There we go.
Just press show.
Show. So he's changed
it because of this. The only thing I can think of here is possibly one of the wiring feeds going to the timer is not, because it's a mechanical timer, it will have a Cruzette motor or some type of timer motor on the back of the timer. And this is what runs at a certain RPM, and then you have a sequence of different cogs which rotate, and that's what takes the timer through its heat sequence, where the thermostats then will click in and click out to do the rotation of the heater coming off, on and off. It will then do like 5 minutes in one direction and then a couple of minutes in another direction. That's all controlled with the timer as well. So the only thing, you know, when it's drying and you're saying it's staying on, is the drum rotating one direction, stopping, and then rotating the other direction if it's a reverse matic? Because if it's not doing that, it is pointing to the timer. And, you know, without having the machine in front of me, this is a very hard question for me to answer, shall we say. So I hope that helped you. But apart from that, without having the machine in front of me, this is a very hard one for me to answer. What other questions have come up, mate?
There is one here. What do we see? There's a question here asking about gas hob, ceramic, or induction. It's obviously a customer undecided on what to install in their home. What do you see?
Well, and that again, in the United Kingdom, I would always say have whatever you want, because we have a stable electricity supply. Every house has 85 amps minimum, I think, of electricity, and there's not a problem. Now, half the year I live in Portugal. Now, the houses in Portugal, for example, may only have 30 amp supply. If you are in a very big house, you may have 3-phase where you have 30 amp supply on each phase. But if you put an induction hob in, you have to run it on the 3-phase. And when you consider the whole house, if you've got one phase, for example, that you're using with an induction hob, you are pulling 9 kilowatt race, basically. Now, 9 kilowatts, just bear with me, I need a calculator for this. In ampage terms, so it's 9,000 watts divided by 220 volts, because we'd be in Portugal. That is, yeah, that's 40 amp. That can't be right. Is that right? 9 kilowatt. I might have overrated the cook. Let's say what's an induction hob, Barry? 6 kilowatt.
Yeah, it depends on the model. So some are very low wattage, some are around the 3 kilowatt. The cheaper ones that actually come with a 3-pin plug on them. But I know the more premium models will require a heavier ampage. They do pull a lot of kilowatts.
If you've got a 6 kilowatt induction hob, and we'll take 6 kilowatt as a basis. Now you divide your voltage into 6,000. That is using Ohm's law, basically to work out what the ampage is. So we've got 6,000 divided by 220. That's 27 amp. Now, if you're taking that on a single phase, that's more than the households could run. You turn the washing machine on, your trip would go down in the house because you don't have that much electricity. If you're running it on the house abroad and you've got it running on 3 phases, you're basically, with the whole hob on, you are pulling 10 amp per phase. Now, that only, if you've got a 30 amp supply on a 3-phase unit in Spain, Portugal, Greece, wherever, you only need to use 20 amp on 1 phase more if you have a 30 amp supply and you're tripping the electric. So it does depend on where you are, but my personal preference is I like gas. Yeah, it's instantaneous. It's also, I do a lot of steaks and stuff like that, so I can basically flame off the steak at the end of it and everything. I prefer gas myself, but a lot of ladies do love these induction hobs. My mother's got an induction hob and she's 90 and she won't use anything else now. She used to have the old radiant ring ones, but no, she's got to have induction. Every consumer is different, so it is down to what you prefer, but always make sure that you are buying the right piece of kit for the house that you live in. And it does, we're spoilt in UK with the electricity we've got. A lot of other countries do not have the electrical supply, and they go and buy these induction hobs. They don't last because they haven't got the voltage. Hope that answers their question. Any others come in, Bo?
Nothing yet, Paul.
I can see. What's this one? How air vent through washer dryer drain pump.
So here, yeah, I think he's asking how the washer dryer works and doing what it does.
Well, I think I'm going to put that on my list for the new year to do a detailed exploratory view of how washer dryers work. And I will try at some point early part of next year, put a video together for you on that. And I might use one of the Electroluxes to do that video too, because they have a nice unit that goes through on the back and everything. And it will be quite easy to film, especially if I can find one that was an old Nexus cabinet where the back comes off. And that's another thing, Barry. Did you ever work on any of the Nexus series, Zanussi, Electrolux? It was the split cabinet. It used to split down the middle.
Yes, it was fantastic. Fantastic idea for an engineer, wasn't it? It was just left you access to everything in the machine, and you could watch everything working and glorious fashion.
The only thing I wish they had designed slightly differently, I wish they had supported the control panel slightly from the frame system, so you could actually take the whole front panel off as well as the back panel. I mean, it was an engineer's joy. I mean, some of the Miele's, to be honest, are very nice to work on as well.
They are, yeah.
They have a whole door swing system that gives you access to pull the whole front off, but you are going into a price tag machine. I mean, what is the entry level on the Miele's now for the quality ones?
I think they start in the late £600 now, Paul. Still
and
a great machine.
A lot of people can't afford to, my heart goes out to a lot of people that is just above the entry level, the general public on some house. Because although the machines are meant to last a long, long time, but the parts are much more expensive because they're produced in limited. And I'm not blaming Miele on this. They have production runs where they may only produce 5,000, 10,000. So the parts that they're bringing in for these machines are on a limited run. That means that the production costs on the components are higher. And this is why some Miele parts, like door seals, for example, Miele door seals can be 50, 60 pounds compared to a Hotpoint door seal, which may be 20 pounds. So there is a big difference in the prices and everything. Right, I'm going to flick back to the questions that came in last week, and we've dealt with Stephen. Have we dealt with Stuart? No, we haven't. Beko Condenser Tumble Dryer, DSX83410, not condensing water. Okay, let me find that one for you. I think this could be. Any ideas, Barry? I don't know if I've answered it. I think I put some videos in for him.
Stuart, first of all, is the dryer heating up? Just check, obviously, after a few minutes of running, with damp closing it, obviously, that you're getting heat inside the drum. And then take it from there, check your condenser filter.
I'm just going to share screens with Barry. Sorry, I'm just going to share screens so you can read that and then answer it a bit more detailed.
Yeah. Just make sure the dryer is not a confined space either, Stuart. Condenser dryers need to take in as much fresh air as they're putting out steam. It's basically like the combustion cycle in a car engine. You need the dense cold air coming in to hit the steam and the warm air to condense properly. So if you have that dryer in a room or a utility with the door and window closed, and it starts to pull in its own steam that it's putting out, you will find the drying process will be extremely affected by that. So just check the usual things. Make sure you're getting heat. Check your condenser filter at the bottom. Make sure it's not clogged. Take it outside. You're more than welcome to use a garden hose to clean it and just shake it off and put it back in again. But do the logical things. So if you have heat, it's more than likely a blocked filter. If you don't have heat, maybe you have a faulty element or something to that effect. Start logically, and you should get the answer to your question.
The exploded diagram I got off this isn't good enough for me to enlarge, but you will be able to see the filter system which we're talking about on this. And also you need to make sure that this is a heat pump dryer. So you need to also check the compressor is functioning correctly, and the compressor should be running. It should also be getting hot on quite quickly. This then goes into the part of the tumble dryer where the air flows through and heats up the clothes in the dryer. And then on the other side of the refrigeration process, this is where the warm air is condensed. Now, if the machine is low on gas, which I said in this one as well, this can also be a problem, but this is way above the capability of general public because it's a heat pump dryer. If it's a gas problem, you need the correct equipment for doing it. And only, I've got some refrigeration equipment, but I wouldn't be happy recharging a condenser dryer because I haven't got the specialist equipment that's needed for working in some of these confined spaces and everything on these heat pump dryers. Anything else, Bah?
No, sorry. I didn't realize it was a heat pump dryer there. Just also make sure that it's in an ambient temperature room, because I believe heat pump dryers cannot work too well in cold environments. They have to be in room temperature to work effectively as well. And obviously, check that filter down there as well. I know it's sealed, but you can gently vacuum it with a vacuum cleaner with the brush attachment nice and gently. You can clean the fins, but if it's really, really contaminated, you're most likely going to need to get an engineer out to split that down and clean that out if it has refrigerant, of course.
Right. Okay. We've only got one or two more to go here. William Powell, I have a cooker which is not heating, is tripping the electric. Yes, we've had plenty of these last week. So let me just share screen and show you what I've done for you. It doesn't say the model, but I think he added it to the frequent questions. I think I've done it here. What was the name again? William Powell. I think it was that one. Yes. Okay. So William, you didn't actually state whether it was because this is a double oven. You didn't state whether it was the top oven that's tripped or the bottom oven when you were using the cooker. So I'm quickly going to explain. I've put some helpful notes in here for you, and I've also put a load of videos in here for you. But let's just deal with this one at a time. If it is your top oven that you were using when it tripped the electricity, it's predominantly going to be one of two elements. You have a base element and you have a grill element. One of those elements will have gone faulty and is going to earth. This is what causes the cooker to trip. The the main oven, which is the lower oven, if it's tripping the electricity, predominantly it will be 504, as you can see here, which is called a fan oven element. And this may be going to earth and needs replacing. This is a common fault on a lot of ovens. I mean, the elements do not last the period of time that you would expect. And it also depends on how much cooking you're doing. But another tip for you, make sure that the fan motor, the fan blade, is rotating at a good speed. Because if these cookers, you can replace the element and you think it's working and it heats up. But if the fan is not turning correctly, this can cause hot spots on the element, which cause elements to go much earlier than the normal lifespan. An element should last a minimum of 2 to 5 years, but I have seen a lot of cookers recently where elements are only lasting 12 to 18 months and people are having to replace them. And this is just part and parcel of the cookers. The elements might not be built for the amount of time or the hours that you're doing cooking. And again, if the fan motor is not turning correctly, this can shorten the life of the fan oven element. So I hope that answers your question. And the last question that came in last week was from Heather Gray, London. Could you reckon? Oh, no, this is, I've already done this for you. If you go back a little bit further in the video, I did the demonstration of the universal knob. If your cooker, hob, or any of the cookers or hobs or freestanding cookers, if you aren't able to get these cooker knobs, you can replace them with these universal. And I believe these are on the website, and they're £19 for a set of 4. Now, what you've got to remember is some of the manufacturers, a typical knob for a Bosch cooker could be £16, £17. And if you want to replace 4 knobs on a hob, that is an expensive thing to do. So you might be better off to use a universal set. I hope that answers your question. Barry, any other questions come in the comments?
Nothing yet, Paul. Just
okay. Well, we've been running for an hour and 20. It's New Year's Eve. What do you expect? It's time for a beer for me anyway. What time are you starting this evening, Bar?
Well, I have to feed the Henrys and Hetties behind me, Paul. So maybe
right,
caught up for it.
So what are they having? A Guinness each, or Guinness and a shot?
No, but I'm Irish. There'll be no Guinness left over for them, I'm afraid.
Look, Barry, we're going to wrap this up. I hope you have a great new year, mate. Thanks very much for giving us a hand running this one today. We'll catch up in the new year. Definitely. Don't drink too many of those Guinnesses. You know what happens if you drink too many of them. I won't go into that.
Yeah,
but,
we won't go into that.
Yeah, but I'll be having a couple of lagers this evening, and hopefully someone in the village will be setting off a few fireworks and everything else.
Yeah.
So for everyone else that's watching, thanks very much indeed for watching the stream. Remember, at the website, we have loads of tutorials to help you with your appliances. FAQs are from specific customers with emails. So we do try to answer them on there. We can't answer them all. We just go through it in a methodical fashion and do the best as we can. Someone just sent thanks. Yeah. So again, thanks very much for everyone. Have a great new year, and we'll see you. I think the next show will be in 2 weeks. Yeah, unless I'm doing a tear down of the machine before then. Okay. Have a great new year, everyone. Thanks very much indeed for watching.
Thanks, guys. Happy New Year to everyone. See you later. Bye.